Hey, welcome everybody. This is John Palmagnucci, Raging Verbalist, and guess what? This is Raging Verbalist number 87, and I am in beautiful Rapid City, South Dakota. I'm at FreedomFest 2021. It's going to be a little bit different format. I do not have the lovely Sandra to co-balance the, if you will, the attractiveness factor, so you're stuck with me for today. Anyway, I've made it here to beautiful Rapid City, and it is a rowdy crowd. 2,700 people have shown up in South Dakota, filled with the ideas of liberty and how to get more of that, especially in today's world. And of course, as I arrived here, I heard that, LA County is going to do another lockdown. Other places are talking about doing that. Oh, the Biden administration closed the U.S. border to Canada. Wow, where does it all end? Well, it's really nice to be in a place like this. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about FreedomFest and why I think that, well, you can't come this year because you probably just missed it by the time you're watching this. It's all over. We already had our fun. We're going home. But you might want to think about coming next year, and that's my pitch to get it in your head. It's like that whole thing about, you start working on Christmas the day after Christmas. Well, start working on FreedomFest. Now, I come here because you meet a lot of very interesting people, and you get to talk to a lot of interesting people, and you learn about a lot of things. So if you're into business, if you're into politics, if you're into issues, if you have to come up and you want to argue with somebody, you can find somebody here at FreedomFest that you can probably go and have a really good intellectual discussion. Great venue, in my opinion. I'm talking about great conference, great venue, and I think next year they're gonna be back in Las Vegas. Now, having said all that, yes, I know that's sounds like a really blatant commercial. No, they don't really pay me to do this. But I really like it, and I took the trouble to do it. So what happened is that we just worked hard to get here, and in fact did a lot of interviews, which you guys are seeing as bonus material to Raging Verbalist, which I think you will and should enjoy. And a couple of things that really stand out. First off is I ended up talking to a guy from Spain, Jose, and I'm going to probably screw up his name, Codera. I'm sorry, Jose, but I'm going to tell you that he's got a book out called The Death of Death. Which of course is kind of really an interesting title. I interviewed him, and it's not available in English. It's available in 8 other languages. Hopefully we can all get together and get it in English. And what he's talking about is that we are rapidly approaching a time when, in fact, that we may get where we're not going to die. Now he says I got to wait to 2045. Means I better eat my veggies or something to make sure that happens. So you have an opportunity to meet somebody like that. The other thing that you actually get to do, so that was great. The other thing is to start meeting people who actually have other ideas. I got to meet a real Austrian central banker, and Barbara Combe. And again, we have another interview with her. Go check that out and get to meet her. And that's really exciting because how many times you get to meet a real central banker? I don't know if that was on your bucket list or not, but it was still very interesting if you're interested in business. Business opportunities are pretty much in abundance here if you want to go looking for it. Met a guy who I've known for a number of years, Greg Ryder, and Greg has in fact come up with Launch Cart, which is a competition to Shopify. Good luck on that. Now, I don't want to be skeptical, but it looks like that might be a place that Raging Verbalist merch shows up because of that. I mean, we all need to find an angle or a way to multiply ourselves. Remember, as these companies get bigger, I'm talking about Google, Facebook, even Shopify, is that you as the small person gets lost in that whole mess. And then let me just tell you just a couple other things that I ran into while I was here. And this is, I think, rather interesting, which is the state of South Dakota never shut down. They never had this mandatory masking. Yes, they did have some spikes in this thing, and people survived. Now, if you ask me, I'm all about getting vaccinated. But I think everybody has to have their own personal decision, their personal right to do what they want to do. It's what liberty is all about. I hope that you're safe when you ever make that decision. But it's nice to be in a state where they never did that, and there's no, if you will, mask shaming going on. I mean, as I left to go on this trip in California, there was lots of talk about masking, and I saw a lot of people, especially when I was shopping to get ready for this trip, and they were wearing masks. And when I asked them why, because I asked people why, even if you're vaccinated, they were wearing masks. I mean, come on, if you either believe in it or you don't, and I mean it being the vaccine. So we're not going to get into whether I think it's the best or the worst. I think it was the right decision for me. Let me think of a couple other things that you might be interested in that I saw and learned here. Really fascinating is that found some people who are trying to build a libertarian community in Honduras, and that's kind of interesting. They lease the land to you. There's very low taxation. The Honduran government is behind it. So that's that kind of really off the beaten path. More mainstream is Michael Cobb. Michael does real estate in Belize and Costa Rica and Nicaragua and Panama, and I think he's working on a Mexican opportunity, a Mexico opportunity. And that's kind of interesting, because if you ever want to think about having a place to go, that might be something you want to check out. Great group of people. I've known them since 2013. Always good to see them. Jim Woods, stock market picker extraordinaire, was here, and he's bullseye targeting. He's got a great newsletter. I'm a subscriber. I can tell you he's a really fascinating guy. No, I'm not don't get anything for this, but Jim's a good friend. I really like him. Heather Wagenhales. That's Heather, sorry. But Heather is like, she's a force of nature, and Renaissance marketing, and she's really good. She was here, a lot of fun. And then let me just finish with a couple more people. First and foremost is that when you meet somebody who has lived an experience, so that means that we can learn from their experience instead of having to go through all that crap by ourselves. I met a fascinating woman. Her name is Lee Schooland, and she was originally, and now that's her married name, she's originally from China, spent the first 26 years of her life in China, and got out of China after that. I mean, her parents, professionals, doctor and college professor. Communist government in China said, hey, Cultural Revolution, we're going to move people around, shake things up, let's see how it works out, and move them like 2,000 kilometers away from their home to become peasant farmers. I mean, crazy stuff. She talked to me about suicide rates of her family in China because they become so despondent. She has a great message, and I hope that all of you understand the power of freedom and how easily it can slip away. By the way, almost all the people I'm talking about, we have extended interviews with them, so you might check it out. Think of this as like kind of a summary. And let me wrap it up by saying that the Skousen family, Mark and Joanne, and their extended family that actually runs this event every year, and last year obviously they tried their best and it just didn't happen. I can tell you they're absolutely great. They're professionals, and they work really hard to make sure that all this comes off without a hitch. Having put on events myself, having events that I'm scheduling right now, they make it look easy. If I asked them that, if I told them that, they would probably say you're out of your mind. Hopefully what you'll do is you'll make a point to make an appointment with yourself to come to Freedom Fest next year and check it out at that point in time. And next week we're going to go back to our normal, more regular format where Sandra asks me questions and I answer those questions and we do all that. And hopefully what this has given you is a sense that in the end that we all have to worry about liberty. We have to worry about what we're going to do in our own lives to make sure that we are free, our thoughts are free, what we want to do is free. And I'm not talking like free lunch, I'm talking about free of thought. So free minds and free markets, and from that comes prosperity, and from that prosperity comes the better life that you want for yourself and everyone around you. So with that, I just want to sign off by saying thanks for spending some time. You know how to subscribe, to comment, to share, to join us on the Facebook page, positionwinbook.com, to positionwinbook.com. We have just, by the way, if you go onto the website, we've just gotten in another fresh batch of books, because we can get them through, you can get them through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other places, but we have some fresh books, and you can get them signed off by Gabe and myself. Ask us to sign and give you some inscription, we'll probably do that, and so check that out at positionwinbook.com. With that, I just want to say this is John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling. This has been the Raging Verbalist number 87, live from Freedom Fest 2021.